In the Woodlands, they're having a Texas Triathlon this week. Morning.
It's a Texas Ironman triathlon. It's a qualifier for Kona.
We have the Texas Triathlon this morning. You see all the cones behind me there? That's for the runners. The running course is coming through here because the riding course is the Hardy Toll Road. They're gonna do 2 loops of the Hardy Toll Road. So the toll road is completely shut down. So they said it's gonna be flat and fast. Yeah, well, Hardy is flat. So they're using a major toll road for the Texas Triathlon. That would be fun. Because that road is smooth. Yeah.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. Paul forgot his mirror, so we went back. So we're running a little behind. Got into the Woodlands, picked up Team RR. WCC guys joined us on 1488. The pace was fast. Went up Magnolia there. 149, Jackson, all of that's on camera. 1486 into Bobville, Mount Mariah, and then we pretty much ran out of battery power before we got to Dacus. At that point, we left the group and took the guerrilla route. Went up through the forest. They continued straight on Johnson Road. We went by 149 and then took Hidden Forest Road to Mount Pleasant Road. It was very windy. The wind gusts were like 23 to 30 miles an hour. I mean, it was just blowing. You had to keep your hands on the bars. We got some awesome clips, nothing but action. I think you all will enjoy it. Paul gave me the camera mid-flight, so I got a different perspective. He got the film, and then later on he came back and grabbed it, so I think it was a nice change. So it was one of those days where we really enjoyed it, except for the wind pounding us in the whole ride. We're rolling out. It's about 20 Celsius from the Alden Village Center. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This time of year for us is very breezy, and today was not an exception because you got hot and cold air fighting until May when the heat settles, about mid-May.
Out there, we just deal with that stuff. Remember in the winter that thing was pounding us every day and coming back home?
I know.
I was like, man, what's the deal? I thought it was personal.
We're talking about the wind because I was telling him in the winter we do our rides and the wind would always be pounding us when we're coming home.
Oh, okay.
So I thought it was personal, like the wind was waiting for us.
Oh, okay.
Be nice and mild in the morning, and as soon as the afternoon come around, the wind would just pick up. And it's very breezy today. Winds out of the southeast. I'm wearing my Souke jersey. We want to thank Souke for the support of the channel. There will be a code in the description. For those of you who are not familiar, you get a discount. Souke makes some nice kit. Check them out. Use the code Veloharmony. You get 15% off. They're already great prices. I'm rolling up just to keep moving. We warmed up coming up here, and we had originally intended to go to the Ashland YMCA. This is Jerry on the right. He usually rides with Mo and them. It turns out Mo is doing a race. At this point, we don't know. There's a race going on in a place called Crockett, Texas, I believe. And Mo will let us know that today is the time trial and the crit. He doesn't do that. He does the road race. So in a few kilometers, we'll see Mo. So he's just riding to stay loose, save his energy to go compete in the road race on Sunday, tomorrow. So a lot of his guys, there are a few guys that are up ahead. One of his guys, Jerry, is here with us. At this point, we're not aware of the change in plans, but the reason we didn't go to Ashland was because we had Paul left his mirror. I think it fell off his bike, and we just don't like riding without our mirrors. We really love using them. So we just turned around. Didn't take but a few minutes to go back and get his mirror. And so we decided to come up this way.
Gonna drag me all around.
That's Greg Shot.
Yes.
Called me a crazy person because last week Paul told me I was crazy on film when we were riding on Fish Creek.
You guys didn't wear matching jerseys today, whether you stay teamed up or not.
So there he is going.
Yeah, always.
He's ribbing us. He said we're not wearing matching jersey. He wasn't sure we'd stay teamed up since we're not matching. We basically decide mostly around the first weekend of the month we'll match, and then whenever we're in the mood, you know, we hook up, we chat.
Pretty serious. He's got his Arrow shoe covers on.
He says I'm serious because I got Arrow shoe covers on and everything.
Yeah, you just have to stay close. That's all.
So he said that he hoped Paul's ready because I look pretty serious. I'm serious. I'm here to ride. You know, I put on those shoe covers primarily. Really, they keep the shoes clean.
Favoring us today.
They're lightweight. They're for all year. You know, the summer covers. They're just, you know, Arrow covers that fit well. Really nice to have. I've had them for a long time. Just got them out of the archives. I don't even remember when I got them. That's Greg. That was making those comments. His brother Doug also rides with us. The Shot brothers. They live in the Woodlands. So what I'm talking to him about is he put a picture on GroupMe sitting in a velomobile kind of a, you know, like it looks like a car, but it's bicycle powered. It's a, you know, basically human powered vehicle. That's what we're talking about. I thought it was a boat. I mean, it looked almost like a kayak, kinda, but it makes sense now. It was very colorful too. We've got the wind on our left and from behind us. It's not a perfect tailwind by any stretch of the imagination, but today's turnout was just awesome. I mean, there's a lot of riders, and then 3 or 4 of the WCC guys will join us in a few kilometers, and the pace just gets high and stays high. So you'll get to see the shenanigans, and you'll see how we decide to wait for people and so forth. So I think you'll find it interesting. You know, we're warming up at 35K. We're being pushed by the wind from the east, and then we're being slowed down by the wind from the south on our left. But bottom line is, if you want to ride fast or run fast or do anything, you've got to train consistently. You got to prepare your body. You can't do it once in a while and be good at it. Even your work, you can't do it once in a while and be good at it. You know, you want to be good at something, you got to invest the time. That's what it takes. That's just the way the universe works. I don't know if Greg went back in a draft. Greg does not like to ride very fast. Greg does a lot of ultra marathon things. Like they just did a 200-mile ride a few weeks ago. I think it's probably been about a week and a half or so. That's about 15 or 16 hours of riding. That's a bit much, even for me. The guy on the right, that's Abby, he took part in that. And Paul told me that he posted on Strava that he was cramping at the 150-mile mark. And he posted that he has a lot to learn. Those of you who've been here a while, Abby's the one who likes to sit on the left of people that are pulling. I don't know why he does that, but he has stopped. He doesn't do that too much. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, you know, doing 200 miles versus doing 60 or 100 is different. It's a whole different animal. You know, 16 hours of riding, that's a long time. You got to really pace yourself. This is where Mo is on the right, on that street. He's coming down this way towards us. Paul sees him. I don't.
Hey, man, that's Mo.
I don't hear him. Then he calls me.
That's Mo. Did you see him? He's back there.
I told him no, I didn't see him. So he's gonna turn the camera around.
Coming.
Now I want you all to see how fast Mo is coming. He's coming up. Some of his guys are up ahead, and he's coming up to us. That's his light there. I'm gonna put the arrow on it right there.
I see you.
Watch how fast he's coming to catch the group. This is somebody that just loves riding his bike. Look at it, like a big kid. And so I see him in my mirror, you know, but we're stopping for the light.
You guys, I got you saying a Pokemon ride.
That was last week.
Well, no, today I'm planning to race tomorrow. And so today I'm doing my sit on the wheels type of ride. I'm gonna let Jerry's pull the whole way.
So that's Jerry that was with us.
The crit, I don't do those.
Yeah, so Jerry said he thought the race was today, and Mo says he's going to do the road race.
Kids. I just do the men's race.
He said the crit and the time trial for kids. That's Christian.
How are you, man? Fine. Yeah. Good, man.
We saw him this morning, and we're going back to the house. So he's going to ask Paul.
Oh, well, I let my mirror drop off, so I had to go back and get it.
Yeah, he said, why were you guys going the opposite way this morning? He saw us in the neighborhood in Northampton. He lives a little south of Northampton, so he rides through Northampton to come up to Mo and them.
Get you on film.
That's Christian,
on film.
another Italian rider.
How you doing?
Italian Americana.
Good.
So that's Jerry on the ride. Jerry's saying, oh, I came to ride with these guys because I thought your ride was tomorrow. So Jerry left their group thinking they weren't going to do much. And that's Jesus on the right with the HP on his jersey. He rides with more of them as well. So we got Jerry, Jesus, Christian, and there's another guy up there in front of Jesus in the lime green. His name is Peter. So then you got our own hotheads in our group, and we get on 1488 and all the hell breaks loose. Because we got Mike Barrera from San Diego, and he gets up there, he acts like he's racing. So, yeah, so it's fun.
Jesus.
That's Jesus. He rides with WCC. He's a member of the...
Good, man.
Where are you going?
We're going to 1488 all the way to 149, and then from there, I think they're going to go all the way to Trial Lake.
So I hear them talking,
You know,
so I
the
drift
Trial
back.
Lake?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice, that's nice.
Yeah. Mount Mariah and those areas.
So Paul's giving Jesus the route of Team RR because Jesus and them were out on the road. We caught up to them. And that's Peter on the right there in front of Jesus, up ahead on the right. That's Peter. He rides with WCC as well. So they were just kind of heading out because Mo is just loosening up today. And I guess they're not having their regular ride. So that's why he said we're in business. So I'm explaining to him how these guys laid out the route, at least as far as I read on the app. And you know, it's subject to change, but I was just letting him know that their plan is not even to get to Dacus.
Mo is racing tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's here.
So that's when I found out, because Paul just told me. I didn't know about it up to that point. So Mo intends to just sit in. He ends up pulling a little bit on 149, but he kept the pace steady and tempered. Because when you're competing the day before, you don't want to empty the tank. You just want to stay loose. A few hard efforts is okay, but nothing that would tire you out. You don't want to get home tired.
So you probably won't go hard or go long. You'll probably just
We'll see what the tempo looks like. Then we can He said, I'm going to let the Jerry take care of the pace today.
That's Christian on the right, Colonello. He's been in the area for a while. We rode together many times. And With everybody's schedules being different, he rides with more in them when he's getting ready for whatever rides he's going to do. You know, because in the winter, it's a little different. He does other stuff, cyclocross sometimes. So that's more in Jerry back there. And that's Greg, who I was talking with earlier on the left. So we all use headlights, blinking headlights. I don't make mine very bright, but it's very, very effective. Especially when I ride solo. I always have lights in the front and back. You're just more visible.
Yeah, all these guys, we worry about weights. It's short poles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about the wind in the parking lot. That's why I mentioned the Paul. It's like if you've got a bunch of guys, don't worry about the wind. Just take shorter poles. Yeah, you're not going to be going as fast because you can't beat the wind. You know, it's the 800-pound gorilla. You might as well just resign yourself to the fact that it will take a little longer. We were doing 15 miles an hour later in the ride and working hard and coming into the wind, Paul and I.
I'm done. Unless there's a lot of wind. And then what I do is I take this road to the highway and cut by that school.
Yeah.
I'm almost halfway back.
Okay.
We're talking about some of my excursions during the week when I come out
It's got a
here.
nice wide shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah, but you only use it till you get to the school.
Yeah.
There's never any problems. Yeah, it's nothing.
That's
So we're
good.
talking about a highway 2978. In this area here, they had a lot of construction and they've completed it.
Yeah, no, so it's gonna, at the end of June, his lease is up. He has not renewed it.
Sometimes this light is very short, so I want to get through. We got the arrow and then it goes to unprotected green for both directions. There's an HEB there. So now what happens here is we're going towards a road called Cimarron. There's a neighborhood.
You're gonna be okay.
Mark just told Paul greeted Mark, and Mark said, I'm doing my best to hang on. I hope I can hang on. Something like that. And Paul told him he'll be okay. We're going towards Cimarron, and I don't know if some of the guys, I guess the guys are ahead. Once the light changes, the pace just gets really crazy. Crazy fast. We've got the wind coming from behind us and from the left, mostly from the left. You can hear it. I've dubbed it as much as I can to keep it realistic because it's just, if I don't do that, it's too loud. Right here, the pace just quickens. Look at my watts, 400 and something watts to start. I stay very close because I don't want to chase.
No, I don't ride Sundays because I work Sundays. Yeah.
But Paul's talking to a rider that he used to ride with from time to time when he would ride with Sun and Ski, and that's what the guy was asking. I hadn't seen you there in a while, so they're getting kind of caught up. But I am staying close because these guys are riding like we're going downhill. You can see we're almost like 30 miles an hour, 27, 28 miles an hour. And we're sustaining it. It's not, if Bob has added enough, Bob's like, okay, you guys, that's it. He pulled out the line. So they're going to form another group back there. We end up waiting for them, and he even says, why are you guys waiting? If you're going to do the same thing, you'll hear me say it, and Jerry laughs. If you're going to do the same speed that caused the people to get dropped, then why wait for them? And then so we split up into two groups on 149, and Mo keeps the pace tempered, so we're able to stay together as a group. And then when he pulls off, he says to Christian in Italian to keep the speed the same, the effort pretty much. But we're moving very fast. This is faster than this group normally rides. So it worked out. We had intended to ride with the WCC boys, and they're here. The group was small today, about 4 riders. Move up because there's a bit of a gap there. I want to stay close because this is where you can waste your energy if you don't keep it tight. You see Paul's moving up as well. I think Paul thought some of these guys would get in. We started out in a 2-line formation. Once the speed picks up, you don't have to say anything. We queue up into a single line. So we're riding between 26 and 27 miles an hour. And this is not somebody sprinting or just accelerating. We're just riding. So with the combination of the tailwind behind us and the wind from the side, I'm angled off to the right just a bit because that's where the draft is. I don't need to be directly behind him. Not only do I get visibility, but I'm protected from the wind, so I don't have to use so many watts. You will see the watts go up because this road, even though it appears flat, it's not. It has grades on it. False flats. That's Mike Barrera on the right there from San Diego. He pulled off. I think they were pulling. So now he's drifting back to get back in the line. And someone has taken over and we're still holding 26-27. About 27. Yeah, between 26 and 27 miles an hour. I'm not sure if Austin has already pulled out of the line, but we end up losing another rider, Austin, who hasn't been training consistently, so he knows not to force the issue. I don't think I saw him pull out yet. So Logan was pulling. Logan's off the front. He's on the right there. He's drifting back. He's pulled off the front. I believe Christian might be the next rider pulling. I don't know if he started pulling yet. That's why it's blustery. Look at the sky. You got clouds, so when you got all these different weather systems, things just swirl around. Austin may have already pulled out of the line. I probably just missed it. No, there he is. Okay. I knew I saw. Yeah, there he is. Austin's had enough. He pulled out of the line. He was in the middle up there somewhere. Pulled out. He didn't want to maintain this pace and start peddling squares because you're not teaching yourself anything proper at that point. I I didn't get the name of this guy behind Paul, but he's a very experienced rider. You see how close he is to Paul? That's how you save your energy. You need to be about a foot. As long as you don't overlap, you're good. And then sometimes the overlap is not intentional. The rider in front of you may slow down, and all you want to do is drift either left or right. Give yourself a little more room between the wheels. Because so you can overlap as long as you're not right up on the person's wheel. If you're a little to the right, you still got room to maneuver. So Peter's done pulling. He rides the WCC most of the time, but with us from time to time. So he pulled off, he's drifting back. And I believe Christian now is pulling. This road is going slightly up. Let's see if the grade registers. That's why the watts are up. So it levels off a little bit here. It says 1%. You know, it's like a ninja grade until we get out to Mount Magnolia. But we're moving here because the road is slightly up and we're doing about 25 miles per hour thereabouts. Between 25 to 27 for the most part we've been doing. There's a lot of splits back there. We just don't have it on camera, but this is very fast. 45 kilometers an hour. We're approaching 28, 29 miles an hour. So when they slow down, I just soft pedal. I'm sitting probably in a 53.15 or 53.16 and just fanning the gears. I'm trying to stay as close to 90 RPM as I can since I'm in the back. There's no point over revving at this point. You need a sustainable rhythm. This is when you must relax, and if you've prepared yourself, it's automatic. Those reflectors I'm pointing out for Paul. There's a hole that's here, so I drift a little to the right. They're gonna call it out. I know it's there, so I never stay by the white line, especially when I'm following people. You can't really see the hole until you're right up on it. There it is, right there. The road goes up here, probably about 2.5%. It's a short little bump. You see the watts going up. It says where's the 3%? So, and these guys don't back off. So we're doing about 21, almost 22 miles an hour, and it goes to like 2-3%, and they just keep pushing. Christian is at the front. That's the way they ride. They're used to that. WCC, they don't back off because the road goes up. They find the appropriate gear and they keep on pushing. I'm coasting there just to kind of see what they're doing here. The pace has settled down a little bit. We went over that little bump and then it leveled off. You must always be in the smallest possible gear for the effort you want to maintain when you're in a group, so that you're not bogged down. This is all new construction on the right and the left. They're putting some shopping centers, grocery stores, gas station, whatever. We've got, I think it's an HEB. There's a sign that's protruding onto the shoulder. I want to make sure nobody runs into that thing. Those things are hard. You don't want to hit that. This is where I think Paul's going to give me the camera. And later on, he tells me he wants to focus on it. So I just grab the camera, steady it, put it in my left hand, and just set it. It's like a Timex. Set it and forget it. And get back to the business of riding. This one, I think it gets up to like 3.5%, but it's nice and long. We refer to it as Mount Magnolia. We're in Magnolia, Texas, in northwestern Montgomery County, Texas. That wind is pounding us from the left, and we got some help from behind. The watts are gonna go up as the grade picks up. I stay on the road because there's so much stuff on that side. I use my mirror, I see nothing's coming in, we'll drift back, now I'm behind. Jesus shifts up and stands and finds a rhythm to keep the tempo going. And many ways to skin a cat. Some riders like to climb like that. The famous Alberto Contador. That was his signature climbing style. That's Clement Champoussin, John Mulberry. We nicknamed him, and he's pouring it on at the front. Everybody's pretty much together. In a little bit, I'm going to turn the camera around. That's Mike Barrera there with the Celeste color bike, Bianchi, the classic Bianchi color. Just to the side so I can get everybody. There you go. Somebody pointing out the debris here. It's very breezy, so I flip it back to the front. You have to keep your hands on the bars when it's very windy, because they can blow your bars and knock you down. Turn the camera around to get everybody. At this point, I didn't see Paul. Paul's in there going by. Well, he had given me the camera. I thought he was going to back off, but he said no, he just wanted to relax and focus on the climb. So when this guy, Mike S5, goes by, I look to the back and I see two lights back there. There are a couple of riders detached. Austin's one of them. So when I looked at the light, I knew it wasn't Paul, because I know how the pattern of his light and how bright it is. Then I looked back up, and then I saw him up there next to Mo. And in a little bit, we're going to decide the weight for Mark, the ride leader. Because Mark had intended for this ride to go a lot differently than how it panned out. That's Jerry there. He's going back to check on people who are off the pace. A couple of riders back there, well, probably about 4. We got 2 that we can see, and then we're waiting on Mark and them. They're not on the climb yet. So when the light changes, the group splits because some of the riders take off before we decide.
We're gonna wait for Mark or not?
I think we should. They're right here. Look, isn't that them?
Yeah, right there, Mark and them are on the overpass going across right now. So Mo is motioning to them. But the guys in front don't hear this. So when the light changes, about 5 or 6 riders, I'm estimating, take off. And we don't see them till we get to 1486 after Jackson. And you'll see them down there. So those guys just take off and they're going. But we decide to come across here and wait. Those guys don't wait. They keep going.
They're gonna wait for Mark.
So I'm telling Paul they're gonna wait for Mark. So we're gonna just spin, and then they called out to us. So when they called out to us, I told Paul, let's just wait.
Let's stop here, my brother.
So this shoulder is not very wide. I don't really like standing on the side of these highways. You're not as visible when you're stationary. So in a little bit, I'm gonna, once the traffic clears, I'm gonna do a U-turn and ride back to the intersection. Because Mark and them have not gotten to the intersection yet.
They're waiting for Mark.
I'm telling another rider why we're stopped. You riding that hard, everybody's in their own world. When you stop, they're not necessarily paying
when Mark
attention
gets back,
to you.
they're not going to slow down.
I think it must have been Jerry. I was telling him waiting for Mark. So I'm going to wait. Once the traffic clears, I'm going to do a U-turn. Okay, I'm going to ride back to the intersection. The guys are on the left. You can see the flashing light across the highway there. There's a wide shoulder over there, so that's a good spot to stop. So I'm going to ride to the corner. Now, Mark sees them, and he's hurrying. I said, well, I thought you would hear me tell him don't take any chances because they are waiting for you. There they are. That Mark and Bob have reached the intersection up ahead. And Mark's trying to sneak across, but there's a car there.
They're waiting
So
for
he
you,
does
Mark.
a U-turn.
They're waiting for you. You don't need to take chances. They're
So
waiting for you.
he gets across. He treats it like a stop sign. And so Bob's like, he's not in a hurry. So I come over here and we wait.
It's still green for these guys. All right, come on.
So now there are no more cars. You know, we're in the middle of nowhere here. There's not a whole lot going on. So Bob's telling them to go to get the group going, you know, because they're standing on the side of the road. Now tell them we're all here. Let's go.
Everybody's here. Let's go.
I don't know why you guys bothered waiting. It's gonna drop us again. Go.
Yeah.
Well, if you wait for them and go at the same speed, you'll have the same situation.
So Jerry laughs when I said that. You know, it's like that they do that all the time. It's like, you know, every group, not just this group. If you're gonna wait for them, then change something. And so Mo decides to go to the front in a few kilometers and govern the speed.
You know, Bob said if you're gonna bother waiting for them, then don't go quite so fast.
Greg laughs.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so this is where Greg is telling me that, yeah, Mo says, Mo told Greg that he's going to go to the front and slow it down. So they're going to keep it maybe between 20 and 22 miles per hour. And with the wind coming from the south, we're now headed north. With the wind coming from the south, shouldn't be too bad. But now we have 2 groups on the road. The 6 or 7 riders that did not stop are up ahead. You know, we'll meet them when we get to the Dobbins area, or outside of Jackson. And actually, it was good that it split up because this road, the shoulder is so narrow to have a very large group. It's a bit tricky. So Mo goes to the front. I believe he's there now. He basically pulls from here until 149. and keeps it steady. Anywhere between 20 to 23. You know, these are like rolling terrain, and we got the wind favoring us. The wind from the east on the right, coming from our right, is not too bad because of these trees. So if you're gonna wait for people in your group, then back off the pace and stay up front longer. And that's what Mo is doing. He didn't intend to really pull hard today anyway. He's got a race tomorrow. But what he's gonna do is just drop the pace and sit up front. And this way, if you're sitting at the front for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, even if it's a lower pace, you're getting a workout anyway. Greg wants me to come in front, and I'll tell him I got you, and then I roll up. He wants to sit on the back. And Jerry's behind Greg. Jerry's gonna come around in a few kilometers to get in front of me. The pace is not, at this point, it's not very hard for me because it's steady. So I don't follow these guys very closely. I will leave a little bit of room so I can see around them easier, because there's a lot of pedal, coast, pedal, soft pedal in the group. And I just want to kind of sit a little further back and roll. And that's what Greg is doing. That's why he waved me up. He's going to leave a little bit of gap, get on his TT bars, and just have a steadier pace. I'm basically coasting here. This is what Jerry's coming up on the side because all the, he's slowing down and he's just kind of rolling. So I just leave a gap so he can get in front. In a little bit, he's going to get on the shoulder. So really, the biggest thing you have to work on when you ride with other cyclists is we call it protect your front wheel. What that means is keep it out of trouble, keep it out of contact with other riders, because that's the most, I wouldn't call it fragile. It's a part of the bike that is not as stable because you use it to turn. So if something hits it and you're not aware, you're going down. If you hit someone else's rear wheel, you're going down. They're not, because they have weight on it and it's fixed in the frame. But your front is loose because you use it to turn. So that's what causes it. So if it does happen and you bump somebody's wheel, do not panic, because it will bounce off. It will feel a little twitchy like you're in an S, but let it do its thing and you can avoid falling. It's happened to me on film on this channel. We have it one of our Saturday rides, and it was a good example of showing how to not overreact and just kind of roll with it. Because when you hit a rider's wheel, your wheel rubs, you hear whoop, whoop, and then it bounces off. Well, let it do its thing. Don't try to overcorrect. That's when you fall. Just keep your hands on the bars and let it bounce around you. You'll do a little S or whatever, then you'll settle. And you're just steering. You don't need brakes. That's all steering. So something you got to practice. There's a lot of little debris. We get a lot of these reflectors that they get broken up and the pieces stay on the shoulder and they're sharp. I didn't see too many today, so maybe the wind and other things have blown it on. So you see why I stay a little further back. I can see clearly what's coming. I don't need their warnings, because if you're following really close, then you need to stay like Jerry on one side. So Jerry can see around Bob because he's not directly behind Bob. Just slightly off to one side or the other. So this is more keeping the speed at 22, 23 miles per hour in this stretch. But he's not doing it by speed. I believe it's just effort. It's kind of like, you know, this is a steady, probably zone 2. That's just general. That allows a group to stay together. So when you're in a group, unless you guys have been attacking each other or whatever, if you guys are just working together, resist the urge to pull through with a surge when it's your turn. Try to keep the pace the same as the guy that came off. I go ahead and get on the road. I've checked my mirror. It's clear. I want to film them from the side before we get to the intersection. So Mo's already on the road. He's already checked. And watch, he's going to communicate with the drivers at the stop sign. It's a 3-way stop sign. So he's going to tell this other guy to go, that car. After that guy, then he lets the other driver know that we're going. Right there, he tells this guy to go. Then he lets that guy know. That's why I told him, come on, because I was watching him. So you have to communicate with the other road users when you ride your bike. You got to follow the rules and be predictable so they know what you're doing. Makes it easy for everyone involved. You notice how Mo went through? He didn't back off much. He's not going very hard, but he's keeping the pace so we can keep moving. I told Paul I'm not getting in there. I was going to drift back, and then another rider told me, he said, if you want to get in there, it's okay. So I went ahead and got behind Paul. I'll go ahead and get the camera settled. I like that the designers of this camera, the GoPro Hero, I forgot the Hero. But I think all the GoPros, from the time they created them, they put the lens off to one side, which is smart. Because like I'm directly behind Paul and you don't just see Paul. You see everything. This is where Mo is telling Christian in Italian, keep the pace the same when he gets up there. Mo is going back to sit on the wheels. That's his original plan. He probably wants to get about 2 to 3 hours in, something like that. Nothing too long. Somebody said car back, and I passed it on. I just said car back. So that way the riders up front, if they were going to pull off, would know to wait or not swing out. I mean, most of this ride, the speeds have been up. And quite a few people it doesn't sit well with. If you're not fit, it hurts. Even when you fit, you're still working. That's what supposedly Greg LeMond said. It doesn't get any easier. You just go faster. Makes sense. You got to work for that speed. But I think it's great to be able to power your travel under your own effort, because we have explored places I would never have gone if I weren't on the bicycle. I would have no reason to go there. keep my cadence in the 90s because it helps respond to speed changes if you're on top of the gear. This section here is exposed, so the wind is coming from the right, is hitting us. You see me drift a little to Paul's left. It's really beautiful out here. Glad they didn't clear all this vegetation. I'm doing something with the camera. I'm not sure if I turned it around here or not. I was adjusting something. Once I set up the camera like the way I want it, because I know there are climbs coming, then I'm going to ride up the Paul's wheel and close up right there. I'm setting it up because on the climb, I want to be able to just shift with no issues. I think I was putting it in my left hand. As Mike got through pulling, he's drifting back. Christian takes over. He's keeping it right at 22 miles an hour. Right here, I believe it's gonna blip to like 1% before we get on the climb. It goes around probably 3% or so. There are two of them in the distance there. We're not there yet. But that wind is coming from the right. It's pounding us because there's no trees on the side on the right here. This is exposed. Slightly downhill here, so that makes it a little more tolerable. There's the hill in the distance. That's the first one. I like this road. You can really work on speed work, like time trialing and stuff. This is a perfect road for it. at this point in the ride, I'm actually not thinking about those guys waiting off the road, because it really slipped my mind that they had gone ahead. I had assumed that everyone waited. So until we spot them when we get to 1486, I'm like, oh, okay. These guys are out here. So we're on the climb here. You see the watts going up. Anywhere between about 300 to 450. You know, so we're not climbing that hard. This is about what? It's about 2 or 3%. I'm pushing a larger gear than I normally do on purpose. You can see how steadily Christian has kept the pace on this grade. I think it's leveling off here now. So this is where you would gather yourself, find a rhythm, because after it leveled off, you get these blips because we're rolling terrain. Then it's going to go a little left, downhill, then kick up before 1486. So you got to save a little something. Can't get too excited too early. Level off here is going to drop down where you see the car in the distance. You can see the car dropping below. Yeah, then it scoots back. It's just a very nice road. Going to start ascending here. You see the grade? I think it says 3%.
Right turn.
I'll let Christian know we're turning right. This is when we're going to see, I think there was a rider up ahead. I don't know if he got dropped from the other riders or not. And there's Abby. So he was with them. I'm not sure what he's doing there. Maybe he rode back. But this is where we see them. Waiting on the corner here. I just go ahead and go left around Christian, because there are two other guys that see us and they clip in. It's Darren and Mike Barrera. They're ready to go. And they take off like a bat out of hell because I have to ride to catch them. They didn't roll away. They sprinted away. At this point, I'm looking in my mirror. Those guys are not ready yet. So I'll go ahead and ride up to them. You can see the watts going up. But this is a slight grade. think at this point the other riders are on my wheel. I don't turn the camera around much, as you can tell. We're too busy riding here. I back off just a bit because the shoulder is very narrow and there's a lot of debris. I just stay by the white line. Most of the stuff drifts to the right. Downhill here. This is 1486. The FM 1486. We're headed north towards Dobbins. But we're not going to get into downtown Dobbins. We're going to turn left on Mount Mariah Road. This road is very lumpy. I mean, it says 0, but it doesn't feel like that. It says 1. It hits you. If you're in the wrong gear, you feel it. That's what Mike's looking for, a rhythm. He's standing, trying to get that gear rolling. I stay in a low gear and I keep my cadence up. In a few kilometers, Darren's gonna pull off, and then Mike's gonna take over. I just sit and keep the tempo. Right there, Darren pulls off. The road goes up. It's at 1%, but he's standing. I'm just spinning. I don't know what gear I'm in or anything. Just rev up. I wait till he sits and then I ride back to his wheel. I'm going to tell him, because he doesn't know the course very well, tell him we're going to be turning left after the tracks.
Left turn. After the tracks.
The Mount Mariah Road is on the left. We're on the outskirts of Dobbins. Tri-Lakes is to the right. If you go about 1/8 of a mile, there's a road we use. So we turn here, and then Mike Barrera stands up. He starts to sprint. I'm like, I don't know what he's doing because the group is scattered all back there. So you'll see me flip the camera around to wait for those guys. That's Peter right there. We usually try to regroup, you know, if somebody's straggling when you make a turn like that. They've been pulling pretty hard, so there's a chance for everybody to regroup. So Paul takes the camera from me. There's road work going on, and they've got a one-way.
Keep going, keep going.
So we're gonna have to stop and wait till the flagman lets us through. We have to stop because the traffic from that direction is being allowed to use the one lane.
No, you're gonna catch us. All this work to get in the breakaway.
You see the sign that says stop, the guy's gonna flip it.
Have fun slow. No, we can only go fast.
Mo says no, we can only go fast. We're not going slow. And the sign says slow. So they've held the traffic on that side now so we can go through in this lane that's open. They're doing some kind of work here. Unloading something. So this is the part in any ride where reach in your pocket, get something to eat, drink, do whatever, top off your fluids. There's a bit of a break in the action, so to speak. That was the guy who led me in behind Paul on Jackson Road. That's Peter on the right there. But some of the riders have already gone across, but we check and make sure it's clear. Then we let everybody know. So I tell them cars left is in the distance, but so for the people coming, they can check because situations change. This is the north side of Mount Mariah Road, north of Highway 105. We just went over Highway 105, which if you go east will take you into Conroe, Texas. If you go west, I believe it takes you to College Station, Aggie Land. So the hiatus is still in place. Pace is off for now. That's a loud freewheel there. You can tell the pace is off because you got people filling the lane as opposed to being in a single line. You see Christian reach in his pocket. He's trying to open a wrapper on something he brought to eat. So he moved next to the yellow line, so he's out of the bunch. And he stores he's done. And right here, I think the pace picks up because somebody lifted the pace. And I can just sense it. Got to be ready. So this entire ride, there was not much of a reprieve. So if you didn't do your winter training, this is not the ride to attend. You will pay the price. You can get fried. And I didn't think this ride was as hard as the WCC guys last week when they came by. That felt harder. I don't know what it is. I think because the pace was steadier. It's hard to say. There's somebody near Paul, somebody behind Paul, that loud freewheel. Those they're good when you're on the bike paths and stuff and you got people walking and you want them to hear you. Yeah, they'll hear that. Mine are a little quieter than that. At least the one I'm riding on this ride anyway. I got some noisier ones. I put more lube in them when I work on them, quiet them down a little bit. The pause, that's what makes those noises. You see we're over 30 miles an hour. This is slightly downhill, you know, not really working that hard, but 34, 35 miles an hour. Mike Weingrass, he got those bars gripped. Look at his muscles all tense. That wastes a lot of energy. You got to relax. Look at my cadence versus the guy in front of me on the right. You got to really pay attention to how you're selecting your gearing. We're cruising at 26, 27 miles an hour like it's nothing. And these guys, they're pouring it on. So needless to say, Saturday night I slept well. In a little bit, the battery just pretty much had it. We've been filming for so long. Yeah. So I don't know how you spent your Saturday, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. And we have 4 hours in addition to this fighting the wind coming back. Just Paul and I after we left the group. So it was one heck of a day. Remember, get your K's in and keep those doctors fired.